Here's something most people never realize about why they're still single. Still stuck, still struggling to find the love or the life they desperately want. It's not because they're not trying hard enough. It's not because they don't know what they want. It's because of the state they're living in every single day. Think about this. Most of us walk through life in a quiet, constant state of alert, always ready, always braced, always waiting for the next bad thing to happen. And when it comes to love, the dating apps, the first dates, the disappointment, the ghosting, the timelines we feel behind on, nearly everything about looking for love feels stressful. And that is the problem. Because here's what science is now showing us. Stress is not just uncomfortable. Stress is chemically, neurologically, biologically incompatible with creation, with love, with change. Today, we're going to break down exactly why, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. Let's start with your body. When you're under stress, whether that's a deadline, a difficult relationship, or the anxiety of putting yourself out there on a date, your body releases a flood of stress hormones. Cortisol, adrenaline, your nervous system shifts into what scientists call the sympathetic state, fight or flight. And in that state, your body has one job: survive, not connect, not create, not open up, survive. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Your brain doesn't actually know the difference between a lion chasing you and the anxiety of sending a text to someone you like. To your nervous system, emotional stress and physical danger produce the same chemical response. So every time you feel anxious about dating, every time you replay a rejection in your mind, every time you tell yourself, "I've been hurt before, and it'll probably happen again," your body goes into that same survival mode. Heart rate up, immune system down, heart closed. And you literally cannot open your heart when your body believes it's in danger. This is why people who've been through painful breakups, betrayals, or repeated disappointment find it's so hard to move forward. Not because they're weak or broken, but because their body has been conditioned to expect pain. The emotional memory lives not just in the brain, but in the cells, in the chemistry, in the nervous system itself. The body has become a prisoner of the past. Here's something remarkable about the human brain. Every time something intensely emotional happens to you, a betrayal, a heartbreak, a humiliation, your brain does something almost photographic. It freezes that moment. It locks it in. That's how traumatic memories work. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the imprint. And from that point forward, every time you think about that event, your brain and body respond as if it's happening right now. The same chemicals flood your system. The same feelings rise up. The same tension grips your chest. So in a very real sense, people who've been deeply hurt aren't just remembering the past, they're reliving it, chemically, every single day. And here's where it becomes a belief problem. Every time you replay that experience and feel that emotion, you're essentially training your subconscious to accept it as the truth. I am someone who gets hurt. I'm someone who isn't chosen. Love doesn't work out for me. These aren't just thoughts. They become hardwired programs in the brain running automatically, below the level of conscious awareness. By the time most of us reach adulthood, roughly 95% of who we are is driven by these subconscious programs. We think we're making conscious choices, but most of our reactions, behaviors, and expectations are just old code running in the background. This is why simply deciding to think differently rarely works. You can't override years of deep emotional conditioning with a pep talk. So what actually works? This is where the science gets genuinely surprising. Researchers have discovered something fascinating about the heart. And we're not talking metaphorically here. The physical heart generates a measurable electromagnetic field. It communicates with the brain through nerve signals, hormones, and pressure waves. And when the heart becomes what scientists call coherent meaning, its rhythm is smooth and organized, it actually sends a signal to the brain's survival centers telling them to stand down. The amygdala, the brain's alarm system, the part that keeps you in fight or flight, literally quiets when the heart becomes coherent. And what creates heart coherence? Elevated emotions, gratitude, compassion, genuine appreciation, love. Not positive thinking, not affirmations said through gritted teeth. Actual felt emotional states. When you practice cultivating these emotions, even when nothing external has changed, your brain shifts into what are called alpha wave patterns. And in alpha, something beautiful happens. You become more creative, more imaginative, more open, more present. The heart essentially tells the brain it's safe to create now. So here's the practical technique. Place your attention on the area of your heart. Slow your breathing down deliberately, consciously, and then begin to generate a feeling. Not think about it, feel it. Call up a memory of genuine gratitude, a moment of real kindness, a time you felt truly connected to someone or something. It feels difficult at first, almost artificial. But that's the point. You're practicing a skill. You're literally rehearsing a new state of being. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. And when your heart opens like this, the ripple effects through your body are measurable. Your immune system strengthens, your stress hormones drop, your brain reorganizes, your whole biology shifts. Now let's talk about something that might challenge the way you've been approaching your goals, especially when it comes to relationships. Most of us are waiting for the event to create the feeling. When I meet the right person, I'll feel loved. When I finally get into a relationship, I'll feel happy. When things change out there, I'll feel better in here. We're taught by culture, by conditioning, by every rom-com ever made, that the outside world produces the inside feeling. But this is exactly backwards. Think about it this way. If you feel separate from love, if you feel like love is something out there that you don't have yet, then you're broadcasting a signal of lack, of incompleteness. And that signal shapes how you show up, how you speak, how you make decisions, what you notice and what you miss. The goal isn't to find love. The goal is to become someone who is already living in the feeling of love, so that you're no longer searching from a place of desperation, but attracting from a place of wholeness. When people get to that state, genuinely happy with themselves, no longer urgently needing someone else to complete them, something shifts. The anxiety drops away. The desperation that repels people softens. And life has a strange tendency to bring the right people and experiences to someone who no longer needs them to feel okay. This isn't magic. It's energy. It's state. It's the signal you're sending out through your presence, your choices, your openness. You attract someone who matches where you are, not where you wish you were. So the question isn't, what kind of person do I want to attract? The deeper question is, what kind of person do I need to become? We need to talk about forgiveness, because most people misunderstand it completely. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's not about saying what they did was okay. It's not about reconciliation or giving someone another chance. Forgiveness, real forgiveness, is the moment you overcome the emotional charge of a past experience. It's when you can look back at what happened and feel neutral, even wise, when the memory no longer hijacks your chemistry. Because here's the hard truth. As long as you're still emotionally reactive to something that happened in your past, you're still living in it. You're still paying for it. They may have moved on completely. New city, new life, new chapter. But you are still replaying the scene, still producing the same hormones, still holding yourself in that moment. The emotional charge is not protecting you. It's not making you safer or smarter. It's making you less available to new people, to new experiences, to joy. And this is where something important happens neurologically. When you process a difficult memory and release the emotional weight attached to it, what remains is pure information, understanding, clarity, wisdom. That experience becomes something you learned from, not something you're still imprisoned by. The technical way to describe it, the memory without the emotional charge becomes wisdom. And wisdom doesn't need to be repeated. You already know what you learned. You don't have to keep reliving the lesson. This is what allows the past to finally be the past. So how do you make this real? What does the actual practice look like? Here's a framework built from both the science and the human. Stories of people who've made dramatic, measurable changes. Step 1. Set the intention at the start of each day. Before you check your phone, before the noise begins, take a few minutes to ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Not what do I want to accomplish, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? What emotional state do I want to operate from? Step 2. Practice the heart-brain connection. Slow your breathing. Focus on your heart. Generate an elevated emotion, gratitude, love, appreciation, and hold it for a few minutes. This isn't optional or decorative. This is literally reprogramming your nervous system. Even 10-15 minutes a day is scientifically significant. Step 3. Catch yourself going unconscious. During the day, you will fall back into old patterns. You'll get triggered, you'll react. You'll feel the familiar pull of resentment or anxiety or self-doubt. The question isn't whether that will happen, it will. The question is, how quickly can you notice it and return to yourself? The noticing is the work. The moment you become conscious of an unconscious pattern, you begin to break its power over you. Step 4. Mentally rehearse who you want to be. Close your eyes and visualize yourself behaving the way your future self behaves on a date, in a conversation, in a difficult moment. Doing this vividly and repeatedly causes the brain to actually begin building the neural circuitry for that behavior. The brain, at a neurological level, doesn't perfectly distinguish between a real experience and a deeply imagined one. Use that. Step 5. Make it an experiment, not a demand. The mindset shift that makes this sustainable is curiosity. Instead of I have to change or something is wrong with me, try let me just see what happens when I shift my state for one day. When you treat it as an experiment, you remove the pressure. And paradoxically, removing the pressure is often what allows the change to actually happen. Here's the most important thing to take away from everything we've covered today. The stress you feel about dating, about your health, about your future, about whether you're enough, that stress is not a character flaw. It's a biological program, and biological programs can be updated. The past that keeps pulling you back, the betrayals, the heartbreaks, the patterns that repeat those aren't your destiny. They're your conditioning, and conditioning can be changed. But it requires something most people aren't willing to do. It requires you to change first. Before the evidence, before the proof, before life shows you that it's worth it. You have to feel the future before it arrives. You have to become the person who deserves what you're asking for. You have to open your heart in a world that gave you plenty of reasons to keep it closed. That is the work. And it is absolutely worth doing. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to go deeper, we'll see you in the next one.